Good morning to you. Good morning. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk on a Saturday morning. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Hopefully, getting your day started off on the right note. In terms of the forecast, it's going to be an interesting day. Top two things we're watching today. First off, already storming in spots. We'll be discussing the impacts around Central Florida and exactly who is seeing the storms next. When will you see perhaps another round? All of that. Plus, previewing the rest of the weekend's activities. Plenty to track, and of course, we'll have it for you. That said, let's look live on our Tower Cam network. This is a neat shot. I showed it just a couple of moments ago on WESH 2. It's the New Smyrna Beach Tower Cam and looking off in the distance to some of the thunderstorms. So we'll start at the coastline where things are at least the prettiest, the sunniest this morning, and then we can work from there. So that's New Smyrna Beach looking good. Daytona, I don't think has been working. Yeah, like we're looking at the WESH 2 tower there. So obviously that's not the case. All right, let's head down to the Kennedy Space Center, see what's doing. Blue sky looking beautiful. Coco looking over toward Port Canaveral, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Melbourne, good morning to you. Checking in at the airport there. Looking pretty nice. We head inland a little bit, see what's doing. Downtown Tower Cam, yeah, looking pretty good. Got some storms rolling in for sure. Let's head over to our WESH 2 Studios Tower Cam. Definitely starting to see some of those clouds moving in. Lake Eola, see what's doing there. Of course, you're not working. And then last, we'll go to Tavares, just see what's doing. Watched some of that rain moving in a little bit ago. That rain is continuing. So here's a look at our first warning live Doppler radar. And let's just start in the metro where we're watching some of these downpours marching in, all right? So around Seminole County, a few showers. Apopka, a few showers, but there's some heavier stuff now moving in around Ocoee or so. Let me bring it full screen for you. And yeah, there you go, around the 429 Orla Vista, back over toward, say, Stony Brook West, Pine Hills, it's going to be raining shortly. Further to the south around Lake Minneola. There's Claremont out near, say, Citrus Ridge, watching this stuff around Mount Vista. 561 out to Bay Lake, some of this kind of out toward Dade City, Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills. We're getting over Citrus, Hernando counties, and all of this eventually is going to want to work into the tourist district. Now, further to the north, let me take you over to Sumter County, see what's doing around Lake Pennsauken, Bushnell, Floral City, some heavier stuff. Watching some of this heavier rain around Umatilla, Bellevue watching some heavier rainfall, and then further to the north, there's Anthony and Citra around Reddick as well, watching some of this heavy stuff exiting, and there have been a few flashes of lightning in there. Whew. It's a mouthful. So what's going on? So high pressure is in control, but it's fading and it's drifting south. And what's ending up happening is we're getting like a little convergence line on the north side of that high, which is helping to develop this rainfall, which is helping to give us these showers and these thunderstorms. So how does this play into the overall picture of the day ahead? Well, we've got rainfall. Goes without saying, right? Here's a look at our updated forecast. 87, 11 o'clock, 89, 1 p.m., 92 by 3 p.m. And you can kind of see these next few hours are really the focal point through the early afternoon. It could fade a little earlier. We'll have to see how that exactly plays out. But essentially the next few hours, and then we'll start to clear things out little by little by little. And with that, I will pause and start saying good morning to each of you, or at least as many as I can. Marie, good morning. Pat, good morning to you. Hope you're having a good one. Lisa says Mineola already raining. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You know, we've had some of these showers and storms moving through already. Pat, Karen, good morning. Good morning. Was hoping for more rain yesterday in Palm Bay. Listen, we're doing the best we can, you know? Doing the best we can. Good morning from Soto. Good morning to you. From Ocala, we were planning on a beach trip to Daytona, but I didn't think it would be wise. What do you think, Mr. Air? Please tell us. So, JR, I would say we're already tracking the storms. If you haven't made it out there, you know, think about it like this. The storms that are in Marion County right now, let's go back to the radar and I'll show you. The storms that are in Marion County right now, where is that going? Right? It's going east. so it's going toward Daytona Beach. So, could you go and it's fine? Sure. If you're open to it, I would just say go early tomorrow because tomorrow's storms should be a later onset. So at least there's that. That's something to help us out. Yeah. How does Ormond Beach look? There's going to be some storms, and it's going to be an earlier start. I would say that if you're looking for like late afternoon beach plans, that's looking a little bit better. So that'll help you out. But yeah, definitely some stormy weather, late morning, early afternoon. Belinda says, hopefully good weather in St. Pete to hang out, and then a Braves-Rays game. Go Braves. Oh, that sounds like fun. Well, the Trop has a roof on it. But other than that, I think the West Coast gets the storms the first part of the day, but then the entire afternoon should be just fine. So that's good. Good morning to you, Michelle, Nancy, Lou, Yukon. Good morning. Michelle says, so later afternoon swimming it is. Yeah, that's kind of my plan as well, if I'm honest. Cindy says, I'm fine with earlier storms if it keeps the heat down. We need a break from the easy bake oven. I would agree with that. It's been very, very hot. And the earlier start to the storms today does help us out a little bit. Lou says, I wanted more rain. See, can't make everybody happy. That's just the way it's going to go. That's just the way it's going to go. Joanne says, ask Mother Nature for a good soaking. So maybe you're going to get exactly what you wanted, right? Maybe that's the way that plays out. Must have had something strong last night about 2:30, lost grid for 8 minutes. I mean, I was up in that time frame and it was quiet, Chris. So unless I missed it, I think we were okay. You're not far from me. All right. Any questions? How long will these storms last in Winter Garden? Yeah, so let's take a look at Futurecast, get an idea of exactly what we're tracking today. These storms that are in Winter Garden, they're going to be around for a little while, right? So let's just, before we even take the model, let's just look at kind of the backside of it, right? So, for example, in Winter Garden, you've got the storms around now. Let me just zoom in here. All right, so you can kind of see those storms are around now. Give it a little bit of time. That stuff is eventually going to drift off toward the south and the east, and it is going to make it into downtown Orlando, right? So there's that. But as far as the rest of the day, let's take a look at our most recent run of Futurecast, okay? I think that it's a little delayed, but it's trying to show that another round of stormy weather comes in around 11 o'clock this morning. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, scattered showers and storms. But notice by 2:30, 3 o'clock, it's trying to fade things out. Now, that said, I'm just curious to look at the rapid update Futurecast. There's this morning's storms. There's the next round of storms around lunchtime. And then, yeah, so rapid Futurecast is kind of doing the same thing. So we've got the storms around right now. That's initializing it just fine. 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Notice it's ramping up that next wave of energy. So, I think that this is doing a little bit better than our regular Futurecast, the rapid update. So lunchtime, another round of storms firing up. And then from there, moving into the metro around 1, 2 o'clock, and then kind of fading 4, 5, 6 o'clock. So that's what I would expect things to do on a day like today. So if you're going into the pool, it's a good day. Just have to keep your head on a swivel. If you're heading out to a water park, Typhoon Lagoon opens up at 10 o'clock. Scattered storms the next few hours time, and then by 3, 4, 5 o'clock, things will start to clear out just a little bit. If you're heading out to one of the theme parks, obviously just know that it's going to be a day where we'll have to track those stormy conditions. If you're heading to the beaches today, looks great. I was out there yesterday. There's a definite rip risk, and I think that that's going to continue for today. I would add water temperatures feel absolutely refreshing. It feels great. 82, 83, 84 degrees. High tide today at 105. Low tide is this morning at 6:51. That low tide is when the rip currents were the highest, and then rip currents will be again high at the low tide later this evening. But I think that all in all, it does look to be a pretty great day at the area beaches. So that's where we're at. So in terms of impacts for the day today, shower, thunderstorm activity, and UV index. I think it's really going to be the storms, though, for us for the most part today. All right. That's where we're at. What else? What? Storms in Florida, my brother says, in the most wonderfully sarcastic voice. That's correct, sir. That's correct. Love waking up to the sound of rain and thunder, Christy says. I do too. I do too. I'm not opposed to it at all. Laura says, I'm not working this morning, so y'all are stuck with me. I don't think any of us are going to complain, Laura. Let's just enjoy each other's time, right? Together. I'm good. I'm good with it. Getting very dark in Horizon West. Yeah, those storms continue to do their thing, right? Yeah. Good morning to you, Rachel. Hope you're having a good one. Tommy's asking, how are the tropics doing? All right. So there's a lot to talk about, even though there's not a lot to talk about. So right off the bat, no tropical development expected the next 7 days. So there's that, and I'm fine with that, and I love that. Great. Okay, water temperatures out in the Atlantic Basin are at record levels. There's a lot of energy. There's plenty. That said, though, the Saharan air layer has started to kick up. Those areas of orange there, that Saharan dust that has started to infiltrate the tropical Atlantic, which is helping to suppress things. Now, will it be around for forever? Certainly not. But we will have some storminess around between areas of Saharan dust. Now, talking about Saharan dust does start to work into our area. Here's a look. Just notice through like Monday, a little bit of Saharan dust, but really and truly, there's a big waft of Saharan dust that moves in Friday. So I would say to you, probably going to trend a little drier for this upcoming Friday. And then that sunset is going to be one of those, holy cannoli, what's going on? Because those dust particles in the atmosphere are going to make for something stunning. So just know that that's on the horizon this upcoming week. Now, that said, this upcoming week, we still have plenty of shower and storm chances around. So it is what it is. Also, in case you missed it, and we did talk a little bit about this, but in case you missed it, Colorado State University upped their hurricane forecast. They put out their July update, and we talked a little bit about this already. They're going with 18 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes. NOAA has been untouched since they put theirs out, but they've got a big gap of storms. And the WESH 2 hurricane season forecast remains unchanged. The WESH 2 hurricane forecast was the first one to come out. We put that out on March the 1st. So everybody is now kind of coming, when we put ours out, I would say most of my colleagues are like, y'all are nuts. And then everybody else kind of came, Colorado State came out below average and then has been increasing their numbers throughout. So it's kind of nice to see some agreement there. It lets me know that, maybe I'm not crazy, which is always a good feeling. But if you're interested in reading more about the WESH 2 hurricane season forecast, it remains unchanged from when we put it out. March 1st, wesh.com/hurricane forecast. Wesh.com/hurricane forecast. That's where you can get our forecast. The Colorado State University product is available on their website. It's a very detailed read, but it's a good detailed read. So if you're a weather nerd and you want to dive into the semantics of things, definitely something interesting to do. One of the reasons that Colorado State has upped their numbers, totally makes sense, is how active things have been. Take a look. Thus far this year, we have had 10.5 days with a named storm. The 30-year average through today's date is 3.8 days with a named storm. Last year, we were at 3.75, so we were at average. We are way above average when it comes to named storm days. Now, that's just one metric. Like when you look at named storms, we're also well above average. We are at 4 named storms thus far this year. The average through today, 1.6, and last year we had 3 named storms. So remember, it doesn't matter as much in these early months because the peak of hurricane season has not begun. We will rapidly start adding ACE points, et cetera, come August, September, and October. So there you are. All right. I'm falling behind in the comments, and I do apologize. Karen says, love the shirt and tie today. Thank you, love. Appreciate it. Thank you. Good morning to you, Jennifer. What's with the Sahara dust storm? What should we expect? All it does is it suppresses rain chances a little bit when it gets here, gives stunning sunsets. It's nothing crazy. We have it every every single year we have it. So it's not like out of nowhere. All right. It's not something scary. If somebody hypes it and says the Saharan dust is going to completely blow your mind, it's not that way. We have it. It's just one of those things every hurricane season it happens. Yukon's asking, is it our 2 winter days yet? Does anybody want to tell Yukon we are like a pretty good distance from winter days? Anybody? Anybody? Anthony, will El Nino make a major difference or are temps too high in the water? So the question comes in, does El Nino eventually cool the Atlantic waters / does El Nino build up wind shear? At this point in time, we don't know. At this point in time, we'll just have to kind of wait and see how it plays out. Yeah. But Anthony, that's a great question. That's one of those things everybody had thought. So when we put out our hurricane season forecast, we knew that we were probably going to be at an above average hurricane season. But everybody else kind of went hard El Nino, and now they're seeing like water temperatures are hot, et cetera, et cetera. So we're having a kind of, everybody else is bringing their numbers up. We at our WESH forecast went a little more edgy, but that's kind of the way it goes. Is we use different methodology, and so that's the way that works. Tina, glad to catch you live this morning. Thank you. Glad to have you here. Since I started chatting with you, I have to watch on a replay, and that's definitely not the same. The weekends are my only chance to catch the live show. Well, thank you, Tina. I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess the interactivity isn't there when it's taped, but the content I would hope still is. Janice says, miss the kids' voices in the background. Listen, so kids' voices. Let me share with you a story. So had the kids, we're working on a back to school special for WESH. I know it's already that time. And so I interviewed my wife. She's a mother and she's a school teacher, right? And I was like, I'll interview my oldest son. He's going into kindergarten this year. Like, this could go one of two ways. It could be great or it could not be great. What's the worst that could happen? I don't have any footage to use of him? Okay, whatever. So I interview my wife. She does fantastic, like fantastic. She's going to be my story in the back to school special. I'm like, all right. And my sons are doing a great job. My eldest, you could tell he's giddy because I told him, I was like, all right, Daddy's going to interview you next. And he's like, he's super giddy. So I put the microphone on him and I knew it could go one of two ways. Every other word was the word poop. So I was like, well, I got like a couple cute things, he said. A couple really teeny tiny cute things. Everything else was poop. Poopy, pee-pee, caca. I was like, oh boy, all right. He's definitely a 5-year-old boy, right? Like, yeah, good times. So anyway, don't really have a ton of stuff to work with him. But yeah. Isn't interviewing the family a form of nepotism? Well, I mean, I guess you could call it that. I'm not giving them a paid job. I'm not really favoring them. I guess you could call it that. It's a back to school story, and my back to school story is sending your kids to kindergarten for the first time parents. And so I figured, why not use my wife, because she's a mommy, sending a kindergartner to school. She's also a teacher. So yeah, maybe it is nepotism. I didn't think so. If I was trying to use her as a subject matter expert on an investigative piece, sure. But I guess by definition, I'm not giving her a job. I'm not showing favoritism. I don't know. I guess it's like the Supreme Court, it's up to interpretation. Oh, Eric, it's so much fun to tease you with comments like interviewing family nepotism. I mean, I don't know. Nepotism would be me hiring Jeannie to be the secretary in the WESH Weather Department, which we don't have, by the way. I can tell you this much. I will not be making the story about me. That is something that's narcissism, though. That's different. But I can't stand TV people that literally make it about themselves, because it's not. But I did think, in all honesty, like, I could interview a random teacher, sure. I could interview a random parent, sure. But she's uniquely qualified because she's going to have her teacher hat, which is watching the child from afar. She's going to have her mom hat, which is terrified from afar. So I felt like it's an interesting story. I will say I'm trying to get a hold of, and he has not responded, so I need to try and call again. Trying to get a hold of one of my teachers from elementary school, or one of my principals from elementary school, and none of them have gotten back to me yet. So we'll work on it. How much time do we have? 4 minutes. All right. So we've got 4 minutes until the Today Show cut-in. So nepotism. Y'all are making my brain hurt this morning. It's a Saturday, for goodness sake. Just trying to do good. All right. So here we go. Today, earlier start to the storms, 60% coverage of stormy weather. Tomorrow, later start means warmer temperatures, 94 degrees. Our high temperature. Before I go, one last look at our first warning live Doppler radar. This cell here in North Marion County starting to put out some decent lightning, not too strong in terms of winds, but decent lightning working out towards Salt Springs, and will eventually work over toward Pearson, Barberville, and even into Flagler County. Not as much lightning here in this cell, working out over the Ocala National Forest. Some rain around Paisley, and then there's this cluster down here in South Sumter County, approaching Bay Lake, eventually getting out towards Citrus Ridge and the Four Corners. That's got some pretty good lightning in it as well. Nepotism. Yukon, getting me. All right, that's all I got. Any other questions, comments, concerns, anything? Off the tracks, that's right. Even with the lightning recently, we're hardly getting the rain. We just needed Palm Coast. I know. It's true. It's true. It's right, Nicole, I'm with you. I'm like, it's too dang early. It's too dang early. Here, before we go, let's come over here and say hello. Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk on the road. What do we got? We got 2 minutes.
Hi, Coffee Talk family. Good morning. Happy Saturday.
We're such a comfortable relationship that I had told them that I was interviewing Jeannie for a story, and they were like, isn't that nepotism, Burris? And I'm like, bah! It's not. They're just busting.
So it's a worthwhile interview. Much needed expertise from my wifey.
You have anything fun today?
Today we're resting. The fiance and I are having some time to ourselves. We've had some visitors lately.
Somebody was working out hard and is sore this morning.
Goodness, I'm sweating for the wedding.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that.
Sweating for the wedding.
There's that. Well, just have your umbrella.
Hi, everybody.
Have your umbrella handy today, okay?
Yes, I will. We're not doing anything. Probably catching up on shows, hanging out with the dogs. Got to give the dogs some love. You know how they are.
Meanwhile,
so needy.
If I were to have that day, my children would eat me alive. I was just talking to the wife.
Bringing dogs home?
No.
I was like,
being relaxing.
Oh.
There's no I was just talking to the wife, and I was like, yeah, when we get the kids back to school and I can recoup some funds, because I'm spending too much money on these critters, because if we're not, then they're so mean. They're so mean.
They're lovely.
They're out for blood and money. Ernesto knows.
Kids sound so mean.
It's not that they're mean. It's just they just don't understand. They just don't understand the money.
Y'all make sure you keep Eric in check. Don't let him talk about his children like that.
Oh, they do.
Keep him together. Coffee Talk family.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh, man. These critters, Laura
What is
says.
this relax you speak of?
I know.
I know.
Taylor's in the weeds. Taylor's
they're
up like,
out for blood.
They're out for blood. Taylor knows they're out for blood. Taylor's up all night with the little one, like fighting the good fight.
I'll experience that one day.
One day.
And I will rely on y'all for comfort.
I'm going to give it to her real. Okay. My hairdresser, who is not even married, let alone with baby, and I'm over there having all kinds of conversations like, let me tell you about these children.
Help me. Somebody, please.
Let me. And then every time I'm done, every time when the haircut's done, she's like, okay, thank you. And I was just like, oh my God, I feel like everybody around me is like, well, that guy's mean. But I'm trying to give it to her straight. Taylor, don't lie. They're little blanks. All of them. They're great, but they can be feisty little goobers.
I cannot. Bye, y'all. Have a good day.
All right, she's going to go on TV. I'm going to go on TV in a minute. I love them. They're great, but they're out for blood. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. How can I say be the sunshine in someone else's day after this conversation? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. You know I'm all teasing. Be good, y'all. I'll see y'all later and on TV in a few minutes.